So this is the Pixel 9 Pro XL in the hazel color option. I think it's one of the best colors out there actually for the Pixel 9 series. This is the OnePlus 12, a value king this year and giving you a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and 16 gigs of RAM. In this episode, we're going to pit these two together to see how they perform by comparison. So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology. Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, OnePlus 12. Let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test in 3, 2, go and see which one can get there first. Now the Google Pixel usually boots up faster than every phone out there. Little interesting note, these actually have different button placement. The volume rocker is lower here on the Pixel and it's higher here for the OnePlus. Power buttons right here and a little bit higher here for the Pixel. Just a little thing I noticed. They're kind of inverse there. But the Pixel definitely turned on first, much faster actually than the OnePlus 12. So Pixel retains its crown as like the fastest booting Android phone out there. All right, so let's go ahead and do the biometrics unlocking. So let's see how these look here. And pretty fast on both. I do like the OnePlus's animation though. I like the Pixels as well. This is just really nice. Both phones really great. Yeah, very good. So not a big issue there on either for unlocking. I think you're going to have a great fingerprint unlocking experience there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the face unlock. So you can get right in here on the Pixel. It just kind of skips right in. That's the way I set it up. But you can actually, the camera blocked my face that time. You can actually bypass it or you can swipe to unlock it. And the OnePlus has always been one of the fastest face unlocks in the business. And you could see, you don't even see the lock screen. By the time you look at this phone, bang, you're right in. So I think the OnePlus is maybe a little bit snappier, but I really like the animation they have. Look how smooth that looks. When it goes in, it's very, very nice. See how smooth that looks? A very nice animation when coming into the phone. This is just a really great, speedy phone for the price. It's like $799 right now for the OnePlus 12 Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 on board. And let's take a look at some of the general performance here for the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Very snappy. I think the app drawer scrolls really fast in the Pixel. So if you just want to get to your YouTube, look how fast that scrolls right there down to YouTube. You can also slow it down if you go at a slower pace in life and you just want to find Google News or you want to find Gemini. Very easy to do so. So very smooth there. When swiping through, I also feel like Google Pixel is one of the smoother with the Google feed. So again, like I've said before, if you're a Google Power user, if you use all the Google stuff, this is like the best phone out there, period. This is the phone for Google Power user, period. This is the one I want to use to conduct all my Google-based businesses stuff. This is the one right here. Very smooth, very fast. Now, OnePlus is kind of reminding me a little bit of like what Samsung does, giving you a lot of features, but also it's a lot more simple looking. I feel like Samsung's software is still more feature rich, a little bit more skinned out. I would say that OnePlus is giving you a little bit, but keeping it pretty simple, pretty clean. But they do give you a little bit extra over vanilla Android. And generally, I just think it's a really smooth software here in the Oxygen OS over here. Pretty decent. I don't really have any major complaints about it, besides the fact that I don't feel like it's the most polished looking of the softwares, but it's still pretty nice. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, 6.82-inch screen. There's a 6.8 inch on the Pixel, 16 gigs of RAM, and a massive 5400 milliamp hour battery. So that's that one. This one has the Tensor G4, 16 gigabytes of RAM as well. A massive, it's like a 5060 milliamp hour battery. So massive battery in here as well. 7 years of updates. So that's kind of what we're working with here. All right, guys, so everything is closed out for both phones. Again, we are using the high performance mode on the OnePlus 12. I like to turn that on for the speed test to give it its optimal performance. And let's go ahead and go over here and start with calendar. And you could see, besides an animation, what was that different? Not much. I noticed that the little bar, the navigation bar, is thinner on the Pixel. I kind of like that. It just looks a little bit out of the way more. This one's a little bit bigger. Let's go into calculator. That looked faster for the OnePlus. Let's head up out of here. And hold on, my mic was in the way. Let me get this in the center. Let's go into clock. I think that's the OnePlus. Let's go into the stopwatch. You could see a very different look in the software as well. Let's go. All right, so let's go into the weather apps here. 3, 2, go. Besides like a little bit of an animation, I think it was the Pixel. Big difference though in the look. I actually feel like the OnePlus one looks more like the iPhone. I like Google's Material UI here. It just looks different than some other phones. Some people think that this is a copy of, other phones, but I think that's a very different looking weather app if you ask me. Good job, Pixel, on that one. Let's go into Play Store. And you can see, I think that was the OnePlus. Could barely tell. Games. OnePlus over there. Let's go to Genshin. Pretty similar. And let's go into Groupon. OnePlus with a slight animation. That could be my finger. Tensor G4 keeping up easily here in just daily tasks. Look at this. Very good. I actually, I talk about, the performance and the benchmarks and stuff, but I've been trying out the Pixel, and I'll give you my full review soon, but the Tensor G4 doesn't bother me. I love the phone. I like the shape. I like the design. I like the camera. Great battery life. We'll talk about that soon. X. That's going to... I couldn't even see it. It was pretty similar. That looks like the OnePlus. Yeah, the load time. This could be Wi-Fi dependent, so that could make a difference. I'm not making any excuses, but that was faster on the OnePlus. Let's go into Instagram. A little bit faster on the OnePlus. And see in the daily apps, because these are both running similar Android over here, I don't feel like it's going to be that different. It's going to be almost the same. YouTube. I just love the options here these days. So that was going to be on the left, I believe, for the Pixel. Let's go out of here. We'll go into Starbucks. And besides the little pop-up, it might have been the OnePlus. Let's go into Jetpack. I don't feel like the experience is going to be majorly different in just daily apps here, but with the high performance mode on, you might get a better performance here on the games for the, and you see in Jetpack, even a basic game was faster on the OnePlus. You have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, so in the games, you're probably going to see better performance on OnePlus, although those loaded about the same. Again, basic game, this game's really old. It's not even that hard to load. Let's go into Temple Run 2, and you can see, let's go over here, and you'll see Temple Run 2 loading first here for the OnePlus. So the OnePlus definitely feels a little snappier in certain games for sure. Both of them have a really large screen though, but if you look at the OnePlus, it's slightly larger. It's 6.82 inches, whereas I feel like the Pixel 9 Pro XL is just cracking 6.8. Let's go into Free Fire, and we'll see what happens here. So you see the gaming engine is turned on. OnePlus with a slight boost there in the lead a little bit. Yes, OnePlus with the win. So OnePlus, less money and loading games faster. So this whole thing about OnePlus offering you a never settle value is definitely holding up. But see, you're going to get a little bit better gaming performance on the OnePlus, but are you going to like it more than the Google Pixel software experience? That depends on the person. That depends on who you are. So there's always like this thing you give up to get something else in the market. And here, you get more performance on the OnePlus, I feel like, but you don't get the clean Android experience that you find on the Pixel, or maybe as frequent of updates or major software OS updates, or all the same, not even close to the AI features. Let's not forget about the main topic of 2024 AI, but you seen PUBG was way in the lead on the OnePlus. So I would say if you're a gamer, I would pick the OnePlus. But that PUBG was a win to the OnePlus speed test. I would say if you're more into your daily smartphone, smart use, AI, and also a clean Google experience, I would pick the Pixel. Let's hit InShot. And you're winning either way. I know the Tensor G4 is not top of the line in terms of flagship level CPU, but it is really well optimized for the Google platform. It's really well designed to run all the Google stuff very well. So don't sleep on it. Also, that Tensor G4, because it's so optimized, it has amazing battery life. That's something we need to talk about. We'll talk about in a review, but the battery life has been mind-blowing on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Let's go into 3D Mark. And you'll see that was faster on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. So at the end of the day, I think most basic apps were pretty neck and neck here. Tensor G4 kept up good. The OnePlus showed that it's a little more powerful due to launching the games faster, and it probably will show it in the benchmarks. OnePlus is a little bit snappier. It's a little faster, has a faster CPU. The Pixel, though, is plenty fast enough, I think, for most use, but definitely slows down a little bit in the gaming department. Let's check the benchmarks. Right, so let's start with the RAM management, though, first. I love that these phones have 16 gigs of RAM. Why do I love this? Because they future-proof these devices. Most phones don't have 16 gigs of RAM. So these are two great options this year with 16 gigabytes of RAM, OnePlus 12, and Pixel 9 Pro XL. This is amazing. You can see that animation wasn't super pretty, but you'll notice that everything, and I mean everything, stays in memory. You'll see right here. And I know the 16 gigs of RAM is not necessarily for me to do my speed tests. It's for the AI-based stuff, so it can run all those large language models in the background, Gemini, and all the AI-based future features that are coming to this phone and will already on this phone in the Pixel Studio, Gemini AI, generative images, and the list goes on and on. But at the same time, you also benefit by having more RAM to keep everything preloaded in the background. So not only are you improving your day-to-day normal experience by having everything loaded up, giving you a really high-end powered user experience, you also support longer-term software support because you have more RAM and better performance in AI. So really big thumbs up. Great move by Google to put 16 gigs of RAM. Let's check the OnePlus 12. What I love about the OnePlus 12 is it was one of the earlier phones this year to get 16 gigs of RAM. This phone has also had more updates, so you can see its animations are just beautifully smooth. They look really nice here on the OnePlus. And I actually think they look a little bit better, honestly, than the Pixel when it comes to reloading this stuff right here. So the OnePlus here, really nice here with its RAM management. There's a couple of AI-based features on here, but they're not nearly as ahead. They're kind of behind here with the AI stuff. Like you can use ChatGPT from the Play Store, and there's a couple of things this phone could do in camera, but overall, it's not really packed with the features of AI. So I feel like the next OnePlus 13 will really make that one of the primary focuses. I really like in the OnePlus software, the Oxygen, you could see those little apps down there, easily to kind of scroll through this carousel right here. Definitely, or this app switcher, definitely very nice. And if we go right there, you'll see everything that we were looking at is going to be very easily opened. So nothing is closing out here. Very great performance on the 16 gigs of RAM for OnePlus 12 as well. What I want to do now is just a quick scroll test and some common apps. I've been doing this in my previous later speed tests right now. It's kind of to show you kind of how they scroll for your daily usage. So we'll start here with Instagram. Instagram does have a feed to load down here, so you got to give it a second. When you scroll very quick, it will just kind of like blaze right through. But if you slow it down, it will kind of respond to that as well. Let's check the Play Store. Let's go back to apps here, back to games, and you'll see same effect is going to happen in here as well. Now you can get some jankier scrolling in certain ad heavy web pages on Google Chrome. So that does occur and it can get a little bit janky. I think it's mostly due to the ads in the website. So I tend to not enjoy that experience too much, but generally scrolling through this entire, phone is pretty smooth. Pretty much most experiences, that's what you would expect at the price that they're charging for this phone. So I've been very happy. It's a pretty nice experience. Sometimes if you come out too fast, the animation doesn't look as smooth as I would like, so Google can work on that. But generally, this phone just feels really fluid for the most part. Let's check the scrolling on the OnePlus 12. Right, so let's check the scrolling speed here for the OnePlus 12. Oxygen has had many updates on this phone, so this phone is a little smoother than the Pixel right now. That hasn't had a ton of updates yet. However, this probably won't get Android 15 as fast as the Pixel. At the same time, this phone has been extremely smooth, dude. 16 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, Oxygen OS 14. I think it's 14.1 now. I could be off. But definitely a super butter experience here. I really like it. This is also holding true for the OnePlus Open Apex Edition, OnePlus Pad 2. Their Oxygen OS stuff has been buttery smooth lately. Very good experience over here. If you want a smooth Android phone, you should definitely not discount when you're doing your comparison shopping the OnePlus 12. It's definitely up there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Play Store now. We'll check the scrolling here. And you'll see, just like the other one, very fast. If you move fast, if you slow it down, it will also respond to you slowing down. Also, in certain internet with ad-heavy pages, this also can get a little bit janky as well. That's kind of like pretty much what I experience on all Android phones. So I'm not going to single out the OnePlus 12 here. But generally going through this phone, it's been really good. So scrolling on here is good. Scrolling on there is good. And for final measure, we'll check YouTube here. Let's go to the trending tab. And you'll see OnePlus actually used to have a issue with YouTube where it was like scrolling weird, but they fixed that. It's actually really good now. This scrolls really good, like on just how other Android phones scroll now. So they fixed that as well. Pretty good here on scroll. Right, so let's do a quick browsing test. We'll go to the Google Store where you can buy a Google Pixel. A little faster on the left. Let's hit browse phones here. A little faster on the right now. A little faster on the right now. So maybe OnePlus a little faster to browse the web, to tech specs, a little faster on the right. And there you go. You can kind of compare the specs of the newest Pixels. Overall, you'll see that scrolling that we did earlier carries over into internet as well. Scrolling very fast if you move fast. If you slow it down, it goes nice and smooth and slow for you. I also noticed right now the punch hole looks smaller on the OnePlus and the Pixel. Just a little observation I just had right now. All right, for fairness, let's go to oneplus.com here for both phones. 3, 2, go. And I think that was tough. It looked like they were kind of close, but OnePlus was loading up its ad first. This one was maybe the website first. I couldn't see. That was super, super close. Let me know which one that was down below. And you'll see right there, very fast scrolling once again. Let's go ahead and take a look at the OnePlus 12R. That's a really nice option in the market today. And you'll see this kind of moved me over to the OnePlus app because we're on a OnePlus phone. So let me go back over here. Generally though, pinching and zooming is really good on both. This is awesome, man. The internet experience is just so good on both of these. Very smooth, fast. You also don't have to use Chrome if you don't want. You can use other browsers, but just a really good experience. Although if you take a look at these screens, the OnePlus 12 looks a little bigger than the Pixel 9 Pro XL. All right, so if you take a look at the clock speeds for the OnePlus 12, you're gonna see that it's actually clocked higher on these clusters than the Google Pixel is. So I'm not sure who's gonna win this one. I'm pretty positive it's the OnePlus 12, but we'll run it anyway just to see. We've kind of come to the conclusion, or kind of seen in my previous speed test, that Tensor G4 is not winning in benchmarks, but it's winning in other areas. The Pixel 9 Pro is. It's winning in, it's winning in AI. It really is big time. Cameras are always great on the Pixels, and long software support. So let's go ahead and just see what kind of Geekbench scores we can produce here on both phones. I'll be back when they're done. Here are our final Geekbench scores. High performance mode turned on the right. One thing to be aware of is that single core score. You can see it's barely different. So in everyday tasks, single core stuff, the Pixel showcased that it's not really a big issue. You're only going to really pull ahead when you really push the Snapdragon version of an Android phone here, 6326. This is looking similar to what we've seen on the S24 Ultra, 3503. Where does that really come into play? Two areas, I feel like: gaming and probably video editing, heavier stuff of that sort. I think because Google optimized the chipset G4 to be really well for AI and everything it does, I think most casual everyday users who are using this device is not really going to notice it. But if you want to get technical, the OnePlus 12 is a faster phone for less money. That is just the truth. All right, and look at this Wildlife Extreme score difference, nearly doubling it here on the OnePlus 12. But what I wanted to say about the OnePlus 12 is this beat my S24 Ultra on high performance mode. Take a look at that, scoring better than 91% of other devices. OnePlus is not playing around with performance. Seriously, 4770, they are overpowering these phones for you guys. The Pixel at 2514 with an average frame of 15.06. This phone scoring better than 53% of devices. This is performing kind of like a phone from 2-3 years ago, flagship phones. So this is not a really super impressive score in the wildlife extreme benchmark. Are you going to push it to that level? That's really up to you to decide. Will that affect the performance in the long term with the software updates? Like if you have this phone 3, 4, 5 years, will this feel a lot slower? Can it handle that? That remains to be seen because remember, they do optimize for their tensor CPU. So this could still run good even though it doesn't have the highest scores. But this is just really ridiculously impressive on the OnePlus 12 on this 3D Mark score here. So again, if you game heavy, this is the move. If you love Google services, this is the move on the left. So let's go ahead and do a quick camera launch. 3, 2, go. And faster for the Pixel. Nice job on the left. Let's go ahead and do that again. 3, 2, go. And now OnePlus right there with them. This is the area I would easily pick the Pixel every day of the week. The camera. I love the camera on the Pixel. So we'll talk about that later in the review. But at the end of the day, I'm going to wrap it up here. There's not much more else to discuss. I think we have our conclusion here between OnePlus 12 and Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Pro XL keeps up in daily casual tasks. It's equally basically as smooth for day-to-day stuff. The software is pretty close. All that stuff is good. It's a super premium update. Doesn't rock on the table because of that camera bar. Stays nice and flat. Just a gorgeous update to the Pixel. However, it's still lacking a little bit in that multi-core score. Still lacking a little bit in that heavy performance flagship grade performance. So that's some area the Pixel can still improve. The OnePlus 12 has one of the last curved displays on the market and has 16 gigs of RAM like the Pixel, and it does very well. It's actually a little bit more powerful technically than this phone, mostly due to its chipset. Also, the Oxygen OS, while it might not be for everyone, is definitely a pretty smooth operating system. Very nice animations, especially when launching in. It's an excellent option, and it's one of the best value options on the market today. Large battery, super fast, nice cameras, Hasselblad setup. It's just great. The options are great. It's so hard to choose these days, too. Honestly, I love both of these phones. Let me know which one you would pick down below in the comments. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.